All right. So now we have
We have Stein.
Stein,
Again, very interesting game because Stein was a
very strong player.
very strong player. I mean, in that moment, he was probably the Soviet champion. And the same year, he won a very strong tournament in Moscow in 71, Alehin tournament or something, Alehin Memorial, I think, where I was able to produce the biggest surprise of the tournament by beating Stein. We remember we analyzed the game and so. Then we had the Zemish. That time, Spassky played something different because he respected probably very much Stein, and he played something more quiet, I mean, he played Bishop E2, Bishop G5 was considered one of the best lines against the King's Indian. And now Black to have something, I mean, he has to complicate the game, and we'll see the result. So he took, everything is theory. Now H6, one of the most complicated lines here. So Bishop there, and now G5, Bishop G3, and now the best line for Black is to play immediately Knight H5 to get rid of this bishop, even if it seems that you have some weaknesses on the white squares, you see. So white has to move something, knight d2, of course, now he takes in g3, he takes, okay. The result is very unclear because white controls the white squares, but has nothing special for the moment, in the meantime, black plays a6 or knight d7, they had another very important game theoretically won by Fischer against Larsen. Here, Bobby played immediately knight d7, and very complicated. Finally, he could beat Larsen, but it wasn't clear at all until move 30 or 35 or something. Okay, so we see the game here is no exception. Very complicated, starting from this moment. So a6, a4. I mean, he doesn't want to give b5, of course, now. So he plays a4, but now it's difficult to see where will white castle, Castle king side is nothing special. Castling long side is almost impossible with the move a4. Now, when you move a4, how can you
But
castle long side?
why not to give the B? I mean, black is not is.
No, rook e8 is excellent move, very good move, yeah.
But why not to let the black have a B5 here?
If he gives the move b5, black has very strong initiative on the queen side, I mean, he threatens c4, b4, or even c4, knight d7, knight c5. And then if he arrives to this, it's very good for black, with the black bishop from g7 controlling the diagonal, The whole idea for black is to play something tactically because he has a very strong black bishop, you see. Even if the pawn in g5 is a small weakness, but it's nothing much, So, right, the plan now is be very interesting. White plays knight c4, queen c7, of course. He prepares knight d7, knight e5, or knight f6. And white plays normal after queen c7, whether he keep knight e3, okay. Knight e3, knight d7, knight f5. And here, knight f6. Here it starts.
So he
In
gives
that moment, it seems that he has the possibility to take the pawn. Spassky won the pawn, here, normal. It was like this, the game, no?
This pawn, yes.
Yes, he took in h6 with check, opening the line.
Yeah.
But then he's not forced to take. If he's forced to take in h6, it's excellent for white, because then everything comes with tempo. The idea was to give the pawn e4 for initiative, but opening completely the position, That was okay. But black is not forced to take the pawn, the knight from h6. This is the big difference. And therefore, the alternative was probably better not to take the pawn, but take in g7, to get rid of this very strong bishop.
Yeah.
And then put the queen in c2 or play simply f3 and some activity and better position for white, Not too much, but a little bit better for white all the time, The way they played is very risky and very sharp, you see. So, okay, he took in h6, now surprise, which king f8. Surprise, but from a player like Stein is no surprise at all. I mean, it's the best counterplay, So now white tries to consolidate, to defend the pawn from e4, but at least here black has a very active position for for the moment, he took a pawn in h6, but later on, the knight from h6 will be out of play, you see. So after f3, again, it's a very strong move, trying to completely open the position with move g4. I mean, he agrees to give the second pawn for very strong initiative. Now, Spassky realized the position here is already very dangerous. He has to be quiet and play something like queen c2, because if he took in g4, the position is almost lost for white, you see. Now, if, for instance, knight takes g4, bishop takes g4, f takes g4, knight takes c4, and white has a very bad position here.
Sorry, so bishop takes?
No.
No.
The bishop was there. No. Knight takes g4. Yeah, the knight from h6 takes there. Now, bishop c8 takes in g4. E takes, f takes, and knight has time to take in e4, opening completely the position, you see. And it's very unclear. Probably black is better, has an excellent game here because it has fantastic bishop, you see.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful not to get mated here with white, you see. So, okay, queen c2. All right, after queen c2, queen a5. Now it's clear that the position is very unclear. Very, very unclear, you know. So now he look like this, you know. With a pawn in a4, he can play, he's playing long castle. Right? Now, okay, black continues, b5, you know. Opening completely the position. Now, what happens? He has to take, you know, it's unpleasant, but he has to take. Okay, so he took, and now rook e5. And in that position, white has time to play queen a4. It is the last hope. If black continues the position with queen b4, for instance, he can win the game. If the queen is on board, I mean, if the queen stays in c2 and black has time to play queen b4, he has a fantastic initiative. So queen a4 is very good because at least you can trade queens, you know. He wants to trade queens and to have some pawns. You know, you have 1 or 2 pawns more, he has a good hope to win.
So the attack here will be with the rook also?
Well, if he has time, I tell you,
yes.
to play queen b4 and he threatens rook a1 check is almost, you know, winning for black, you see. So queen a4 is very good move. At least he can trade queens, you know. And now knight h5 looks excellent for black, but is a mistake. The right move here, which is, you know, is logical, but until here, it was very interesting and very well played by Stein. But here he could play much better rook h5, not knight h5. After rook h5, it's very unclear who is better. White has 2 pawns, but black has a very strong counterplay, and it's not clear at all. Tal and Bronstein and all the rest, they said that it's better for black. I mean,
but what is the idea with the rook?
But here? What can white do here? You have to take probably in a5, you know, in h5 or a5.
And a5, yes.
Okay, if he takes in a5, he takes with the rook. And now what can he play?
Maybe this one.
Okay. No, but he loses a pawn, a knight, you know.
The knight is attacked here, yes.
Yeah, the knight is attacked. Even he could take with check first, you know, in h6. You have to be very careful. If he takes immediately, okay, let's say he has time to take. It's move by move again, you know.
Yeah.
And he can take the second pawn in g4. I mean, he takes with the knight there, yeah. Now what to do?
I guess this one.
Well, here, first of all, he can lose a piece after bishop takes c3.
Bishop takes c3?
c3, the other bishop.
Okay, yeah.
And he lost a piece. Okay, some counterplay, but at least he took a piece, you know?
Yeah.
It's very, very unclear who is better, you know? That was probably the main moment of the game, you see? I mean, after knight h6, the game becomes very, very quickly better for white, you see? It's unbelievable, move by move, you see? It seems excellent, but it's better for white here, you see? With rook h5, very complicated, maybe better for black. Here, starting from here, after knight h5, very tactical, but clearly better for white. And we'll see how. Okay, so he took, and now fantastic move f4. Well, the only move. If he doesn't play f4, it's clearly better for black again, you know. But after f4, everything is forced, and it's not good alternative for black. What to do? Now, he took in h6, of course, and now king c2. Look at this. He gave a piece, but every black piece is attacked, you know. And therefore, white is clearly better. Move by move, but what to do? For instance, now he took in e4, but what to do? If he takes in f4 for normal, he's lost. Black is lost. Now, okay, he takes with the knight, for instance. Now,
Yeah.
now simply taking there in f4. Now you have to take back with the bishop, and then you lose the bishop from c8 with check. King, rook c8 check and winning.
Rook c8.
H8 and rook c8 and wins a piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if he takes back with the bishop in f4, not with the knight, you see, the bishop. Okay, he takes with the bishop. Again, he takes in f4. And the same thing. Takes, and check there and wins a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, you see, that was the difference, very big difference. So therefore, he wants to complicate the game even by giving a piece, you know. After f4, king c2, now the bishop is in h6. Everything was forced. He played knight h5, yeah, knight h5. He took in a5, he took with the rook, move by move, f4, bishop takes and king c2. And now, of course, he tries to complicate. He gave the rook e4. Now, okay, he took in e4. I tell you, move by move, you know. So rook takes, bishop back. I mean, he wants to keep the black bishop, you know, the best piece for him. Yeah. Of course, Spassky accepts the challenge, and therefore the game is very important tactically, you know. It's move by move all the time. So again, he gives the second exchange to have a good tactical chance at least, you know. So okay, he takes back the rook. Now he has time to give one check later on with the bishop in f6, f5. So he took in g3, he attacks the rook. But he has two exchanges, you know, here.
Down.
Black is two rooks down for two pieces. So now he leaves the rook there and he attacks the bishop. The bishop from c8 was important. If here black took in h1, then he took in c8 and
Yes.
winning, you know. So of course, the only move is rook, bishop d7, you know, to keep the bishop, to have a small hope. So rook centralized in e1, you know. Now he must realize the advantage. Now the position is winning for white, but he has to play well until the end, you see. So okay, check b3, back, no, has no other move. Rook e5, you see, he gives the rook, I mean, please take something, you know.
Yeah.
So the guy wants to complicate the last moves like this. Now knight b7 again, he gives something, you know, rook, bishop takes there. Now again, he leaves the rook there. He could win probably with some other move, but knight takes e5 is the best. So now at least he gives a check. Now the rook takes in f5, you know. And, you know, the simplest way to do it, well, he wins anyway by any move. But king d3 is the best. Now knight e3, he attacks the rook and he takes the pawn. Okay. Now he gives this possibility, and look, until then, very beautiful, you know. He attacks both pieces, knight check. He takes back the rook, but it's too late. Now everything is forced.
Now he resigned.
No, he gave check. Now king e3, king g3,
G3,
knight
E3.
e3, knight takes g1, and king f2, and black resigned. He resigned because he has still one pawn. The pawn b wins, you know. If the position without the pawn b is draw, after knight h3 is draw.
Yeah.
But with the pawn is lost.
After knight here,
Knight,
check.
yeah, if you don't have the pawn in b3, knight against pawn or knight two pawns, draw, you know. But like this is winning with the pawn in b3. Well, very complicated, but I tell you, for one move, the big difference, you see.
Yeah.
Rook h5 or knight h5, but, you know, such complications you can go wrong, of course, even by this very high level, you see. But very beautiful game until then. Very complicated, even with some small mistakes, but very, very interesting, you see. And if black played bishop h5 and he could win, that it would be an extraordinary game, you see. But like this, okay. And we had the result.
Good for Boris.
Well, nobody is guilty, of course. I mean, each one played his chances, you know.
Yeah.
But, okay, you can see. But in such a position, one move can, makes the difference.
Change the outcome.
Completely, completely.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.